Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the Six Rings Kane Show. Jazz Santana here, joined by Danny Gillette, Jakari Givens, and our special guest. We'll jump right into it, Darren Heitner, who is the sports entertainment and IP lawyer for Heitner Legal and is an expert in the name, image, and likeness laws. We wanted to bring him in because, a lot of things are still going on right now when it comes to NIL. And to be completely honest with you, man, half the stuff I'm just not, I'm lost with, man. It's so many things to cover. I can only imagine what Darren is going through. Thank you all for joining. By the way, make sure you subscribe to the Five Reasons Sports YouTube channel, and please click and give us a like and a thumbs up. So without further ado, Darren, thank you so much for joining us here on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Listen, we've obviously, this is all kind of new territory for us. I'm sure that you've had quite a bit of reading to do and studying to do on all this stuff with name, image, and likeness for quite a long time now. For some of us that are still trying to understand a little bit what it's all about, can you kind of give us like just a bird's eye view as to what the fans might want to try to understand? And how this works for the players and for the programs.
Yeah, let me try to break it down because interestingly, this really affects everybody. So you, me, everybody who's listening, we all have what's called rights of publicity. We can all make money off of our names, our images, and our likenesses if someone finds value in it. And in fact, we can actually go after somebody in litigation if they use our names, images, and likenesses without our consent and do it in a commercial manner to try to make some money. So literally everyone in the country had these rights except for college athletes. That's the hypocrisy in all this. Wow. The NCAA forever had denied college athletes these rights based on the NCAA's bylaws. And obviously their justification was we need to keep what they consider to be amateurism in place. There has to be a separation between amateurs, college athletes, what they call student athletes, and professional athletes. And they constantly said if athletes were given these rights, it would change college sports forever. It would kill college sports. That fans care about college sports because of the clear distinction between college athletes and professional athletes. And so if college athletes had these rights that all professional athletes have, then it would destroy college sports. Obviously, here we are 3 weeks in. It hasn't destroyed college sports in the slightest. In fact, I would argue it's made a lot of people much more interested in college sports, especially in the offseason. So from my perspective, obviously, these are rights that athletes deserve, should have never been taken away from them. And all of the NCAA's claims as to why these athletes didn't have rights forever was bunk. It's garbage.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that one question I think that, probably the some of the fans or even us that are part of the media and cover a lot of these college programs want to kind of understand also is how do you separate now that they are able to be paid or compensated for their name, image, and likeness? How does this separate them from being considered a professional and still an amateur athlete? What's the difference there, and how can we kind of separate the two?
I think it's very clear. They're not employees. They're not earning wages. They're not earning salaries. If you're a professional athlete, what's the first thing that you're doing with the team before you get out on the field, on the court? You're signing a contract. You're negotiating the terms. In football, obviously, not everything's guaranteed. There's non-guaranteed and guaranteed portions. But whether you're in football or basketball or any other sport, you're negotiating your actual salary. These players in college, they're still not getting salary. There's no money that's funneling through the universities to the athletes. We're simply giving these athletes the opportunity to make money from their own personalities, from the brands that they've developed and will continue to develop, and not take away any opportunity or add a cost to the universities, costs that professional organizations have, as I mentioned, by way of the salaries that they have to pay. So I think there's still a very clear distinction. Plus, athletes still have to maintain a certain GPA in order to remain eligible. That doesn't exist in the professional ranks.
Right. Right.
So I think there's clearly a distinction.
Right. Gotcha. Okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Now, I guess the other question is, and by the way, Danny and Jock, feel free to chime in, or post the question when you're ready to ask it. Not a problem, so that we don't bump into each other. But I guess one question I do have is, this talk about, okay, so where does this leave the NCAA? Right? Are they still in essence, do they still control something that has to do with the players? How does that work now? Do we kind of go away with the NCAA as a whole, and where do they kind of fit into this whole NIL? All the changes that are going on now. Do they still have any semblance of control over the program? Well, probably the programs, I would say, as opposed to the players. Now, how does that work?
The NCAA in 2021 is almost completely meaningless. Its main objective and the main benefit that it provides to universities and to conferences is organizing March Madness, organizing the men's and women's NCAA tournament every year, and putting together the media rights deal. And that's really the only objective and benefit that the NCAA provides at this point, to be honest. We've seen conferences gain in power. Interestingly, today, there's rumors that Texas and Oklahoma want to join the SEC.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's wild.
Yeah, right? I mean, we may not be far from seeing the eradication of the NCAA altogether and power in the hands of a select few conferences. Obviously, if the SEC grows with a Texas and an Oklahoma, I don't think there's any other conference that even holds a candle in comparison. But with regard to NIL right now, what's interesting is for some time, the NCAA was considering adopting legislation that was going to be comprehensive, many pages long, that was going to regulate NIL on a national level. And in fact, there was going to be what's called a TPA, a third-party administrator, that was going to oversee all of the deals that came in and either approve them or disapprove them. That was all scrapped back about a month ago when the Supreme Court made a decision, 9-0, unanimous, against the NCAA, ruling that the NCAA is a cartel, colluded to restrict athletes from getting their academic-related benefits. Now, it could have gone beyond that. In fact, there was a concurrent opinion by Supreme Court Justice Kavanaugh that asked, are any of the restraints, is there a foundation for any of the restraints? Can you support them? Which I think really scared the NCAA. So what happened after that was the NCAA said, all right, let's scrap our plan for NIL. And that's why they waited until June 30th, about 4 p.m. Eastern, literally the day before states were going to go live with their NIL, and decided, all right, there's 3 things we're going to say. 1, athletes, there has to be quid pro quo. In these deals, athletes have to be giving something in exchange for the money they're going to receive. Number 2, athletes cannot be given deals subject to them going to a school or staying at a school. Number 3, the deals can't have performance bonuses. Athletes can't receive extra money based on, let's say, 100 receiving yards in a game or 5 touchdowns in a game. Outside of that, there's very little restrictions at the national level.
One of the questions that I have for you, Darren, is do you see the rise of sports agents? I shouldn't say the rise, but could you see sports agents kind of forcing their way into college athletics even more than they are now? Obviously, we have professional athletes getting agents, and obviously there's some stipulations in regards to how much money, a college athlete can earn, just like you said. But can you see agents and, agents playing a bigger role in college athletics moving forward?
Yes, in fact, I just recently tweeted out 10 suggested questions that athletes should be asking potential agents before signing with any of them. I probably could have written 20 or 30 more questions. We're seeing the traditional agencies that we're all familiar with and the agent names that many of us have come to know based on their representation of professional athletes getting involved. But they're being very selective, obviously, and smartly. They're going after those who really have the best pro potential and also may be the most marketable at this particular time of their lives. But then we're also all of a sudden seeing all of these individuals and agencies that I have never heard of before making announcements of signing this player and that player. And that's bound to happen when you have hundreds of thousands of college athletes, many of whom wrongly believe they need an agent. You know, a lot of these guys probably, and girls, probably don't need it or are being led to believe that they do when they do. And I wonder, and I think I tweeted this as well, how many of these new agents have any appreciation for what the business looks like, how to procure deals, how to negotiate them. And also, I wonder if they even understand that there's over 40 states that have laws where they actually have to be licensed in the states where they're recruiting. We could see regulators in any of those states. I mean, Florida's one of them, North Carolina, Alabama, Texas. They've been really aggressive in the past in regulating agents who obviously in the past were operating with professional athletes. But now with college athletes, we could see some action there too. To your point, yes, there's a lot of agents getting involved. We've seen a lot of signings. We'll see more.
Well, yeah, you gotta be. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Jock. Go ahead.
You gotta be. For my advice to the guys is be careful because a lot of these agents are gonna try to get them to lock into deals far beyond right now, especially if they know the guy can be a draft pick or something like that. Yeah. So, with the NIL, I think it's great for the kids and they should be able to. I know it's gonna become become.
Yeah, he froze. Jock froze. But I think I know where he was going. But also, Darren, right? Like the way that these agents are going to be able to kind of circumvent the whole NIL thing and not being able to, kind of recruit these players is by putting together marketing companies, right? Hey, we have our marketing arm of the agency where it has nothing to do with, with agency per se, right? Signing you as to represent you for professionally, but now through marketing companies. That's the loophole that you're going to see a lot of these agencies.
But it's not a loophole, and they're misunderstanding the law, and I'm sure this is happening, but they're misunderstanding the law if they operate in that way. If they are out there trying to procure and negotiate opportunities for college athletes, I don't care what they call themselves, they're agents. And they have to be licensed in the states in which they operate. And furthermore, just to be very clear, you can have agents who represent professional athletes serve in this marketing capacity. However, there are rules and laws against those agents signing or even having any conversations where there's an oral agreement for the athlete to be represented by that agent for professional endeavors. So it has to be strictly about marketing while they're in college, or else there can be problems. So if anyone thinks that there's a loophole here, they could have a rude awakening, to be honest.
Yeah. So basically, what you're saying is an agent can sign on a college athlete so long as it's strictly and solely for the purposes of marketing them. Correct? Is that what I'm understanding? Okay, gotcha. Jock, I know you got cut off there. I don't know if you want to kind of add something. I know
no, because I just heard the last bit, so yeah, that was pretty much my thing. So guys, they have to just be aware of who they're signing with, who's doing it. But I know, Darren, I know you tweeted about Bryce Young a little earlier. I seen a tweet about him. I know this is going to start playing a big role in recruiting. So how do you feel about that with the Bryce Young news close to $1 million? I don't believe that, but I think it can get up there if he starts playing very well.
I think Nick Saban keeps winning. I mean, this is why he is so valuable outside of the fact that he happens to be an excellent coach. He's just an amazing recruiter. And I don't care. I agree. I mean, none of us know how much money Bryce Young has guaranteed to him. I'm aware of one deal he has with Cash App, and I'm sure he has tons of offers on the table, probably in excess of $1 million. My personal opinion, in talking to some people, is that it's very unlikely that he's actually signed deals that guarantee him $1 million, or else he'd likely be promoting those deals, and we haven't seen any such promotion thus far. But look, I mean, Nick Saban can say something, and who's going to say he's wrong? Like, how do you even how do you even attack that? He has no proof, but none of us have proof to the contrary. So I think it was genius because everyone's focusing on it. Literally everyone's talking about it. So it's great for recruiting.
It's his recruiting pitch, at this point, whether it's real or not, that once you hear that, you're like, oh crap. Okay. All right. This, if I can go over there and make $1 million on deals as well, then why not? So it's brilliant on his half. I mean, it's smart.
Well, like I mentioned, the teams that are just in college towns are gonna make the most money. So,
well, unless you're Miami or USC or UCLA or one of these schools, though. I mean,
I was gonna say, I'm not sure on that. I've long believed that a lot of colleges in larger markets will also benefit greatly from the fact that there's just a lot of money and big corporate entities surrounding those schools. And to the extent that you have boosters who are very interested in supporting the universities and now supporting the individual players, there's ways to get that done. And maybe that leads us to the American Top Team issue. Right.
Well, which is exactly what I kind of wanted to talk about and move over to and talk a little bit about from a Canes perspective, the American Top Team deal that they have with the players. If you can kind of talk to me a little bit about how that works, because I know we heard, and you can probably correct me if I'm wrong, but Dan Mullen asked, "Oh, is that legal?" or something along those lines. So
that's my coach too.
Yeah, I know that's your coach. I know.
Dan's a big Florida guy.
I know. We got to tread lightly with that one, but hey, whatever. It is what it is. All right.
I'm a Florida guy, but he's asking whether a deal that I did is legal, so I'm conflicted here.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you can kind of talk to us a little bit about that, that would be interesting.
Yeah. Look, it's legal. I mean, the law is the law. And the law says that an entity that supports or benefits the institution or the athletic department cannot also compensate or cause compensation to the athletes. And if you look at American Top Team has never supported or benefited the University of Miami or its athletic programs. And so there's no restriction on American Top Team going out and saying, we want to provide an offer to 90 football players, offer them $500 a month in exchange for, as I talked about, promote American Top Team. And no University of Miami athlete has to do the deal. They opt in. Either they do it or they don't. But there's nothing illegal about that specific deal. And yeah, I heard the soundbite from Dan Mullen. And to be honest, it's a bit surprising because I know a lot of people at the athletic department for the Florida Gators. And they are very smart. They've been wrapping their head around this whole issue for quite some time. I know they know it's legal. And I'm sure Coach Mullen knows it's legal. So it's a bit surprising he even said something like that.
Yeah, well, we gotta stir the pot a little bit. That's what it is. I get it.
Well, you got Saban on one side bragging about how his quarterback has $1 million in deals, and then you've got Coach Mullen on the other side asking whether it's legal. And I mean, as a Florida fan, it's disappointing.
Yeah. One more thing, right? Because I saw you tweeted this out earlier too. Is you're working on another deal for the Miami Hurricanes. I'm sure you can't really talk about the actual specifics or what the deal is about, but is there any insight you can give us as to what you have cooking for the Canes there for something else?
I can't talk any specifics. I'd say it's going to be a little bit different than what we saw with the football American Top Team deal. It's not going to be exactly the same. But you'll find out soon enough, if not this week.
Gotcha. Awesome, man. That's awesome. Any last questions that you guys may have for Darren Heitner? By the way, thanks again, Darren.
Of course.
Thank you, Darren. Thank you, man.
Thank you, Darren.
I think it's important that we understand from a fan's perspective as well that there's rules and there's things in place that just because now it's legal to do to kind of help these players out. you can't just walk up to someone and be like, hey, I'm going to give you $1 million for you to do this. I mean, it's got to be done the right way. So I think that's important also, because I think now compliance with all schools, not only the Hurricanes, but the compliance department for all the schools, I'm sure got a lot of work to do now, don't they, Darren?
Yep.
Darren, you there?
He just said in the chat that he lost his audio.
Yeah. No, we can't hear him. But anyways, Darren, thank you so much for coming on, man. We appreciate it. And hopefully we will talk to you soon again.
Got a bit of breaking news from Darren. He says they're in process of working on a big deal for the Canes. So be on the lookout for that. Thank you, Darren, for that insight.
There you go. There you go. And why is David kicking Danny out there for a second?
I don't know. What did I do? What did I do? I thought I liked you, Dave.
So we'll talk for a few minutes now, because we just got some big news in Canes recruiting, as well as we landed 3 stars. You probably all saw this morning and during the day there was a lot of rumors out there and a lot of memes being posted by coaches and by just fans of the program of doing backflip, of memes of people doing flips and little flip meme and all this really cool stuff. And everybody's kind of going crazy. Like, I even got a text that someone said, one of my buddies was like, so who did we flip? I'm like, we didn't flip anybody. The kid's name is Flip. Well, it's short for Philanthra Carswell, who's an offensive tackle, 3-star offensive tackle. Big kid, projects to be a very good offensive tackle. I know that a lot of people have kind of talked about him playing all over. Yeah, big time, right? 6'7", over 300 pounds already. I forgot what school it was. I got to look it up to see what school he's at right now in high school. But however,
Washington County in Georgia.
There we go. Okay, great. Yeah, it's a Georgia kid. So I love getting Georgia kids. I love getting these big offensive linemen, especially from that state. I think that it was a huge pickup. He is a 3-star, so a lot of people are going to be like, oh, he's not a 4 or 5-star. I don't care. He's a kid that projects at a high level, can be an NFL prospect, like Jock said. I'm excited about it. I know that a couple of months back, a lot of people had him committing to Miami. Finally pulled the trigger today. Flip Carswell, offensive tackle out of Georgia. Excited to see Jock. I know that we're starting to gain a little bit of momentum here and there. How do you feel about the offensive line position? If you know anything about Flip, or just in general about what he projects at the next level, how do you feel about him?
You have to recruit these kind of guys to keep the program rolling. You got Ryan Rodriguez, who came in this past year. You had a kid like this in 2022. Then you talking about guys who are going to be the starting offensive line for the next coming years. And I think Miami has a really good offensive line coach finally. I think this group has some continuity. He can come in next year and maybe sit behind Zion Nelson. I doubt it. I think Nelson would probably cash in with his draft stock being as high as it is if he has a solid season. But when you get guys who are specimen, and I'll tell guys from the recruiting, DBs, O-line, and D-line guys get recruited off size, measurables, because they're saying to themselves, I can recruit this 6'7" kid and teach him how to be an offensive tackle. Mm-hmm. I can turn him into this. So that's the biggest thing you have. So you're looking for guys like this, and this is big for Miami because it's creating another pipeline to another another state, similar to when we were winning back in 2000, where you had the pipeline to Louisiana. You know what I mean? So you just got to continue to build this. And like I said, I like the kids' measurables. I haven't, but I like the kids' measurables.
Well, you mentioned a great point. You brought up a great point. It's size. And we lost Jock there, but there you are. Okay, so you brought up a good point about size, and you noticing how they're recruiting their defensive backs as well. Kamari Rogers, big kid that looks like he can fill out. Who's the other kid that we just got that just committed recently? Wow, I'm drawing a blank now. Not the other
the kid from
Christopher Graves.
Yes, Chris Graves, another kid who's only 16 years old, but he's already 6 feet tall. A buck 80. He has wide receiver skills, which is great. Hopefully they can
I see it when I watch this tape. I said he's a guy who's playing receiver, but they see him. He got long arms. His arms is always down to his damn knees. So that's cornerback all day. So
He's like Giannis.
pretty
He's like
good.
Giannis.
Yes.
That's awesome, man. I mean, look, I'm excited about where they're going. They've got some other kids that are going to be committing soon, also. But then you also talk about, like you said, Jock, the uglies in the middle, man. The defensive lineman, the offensive lineman, Shamar Stewart, who looks to be someone that I think the Canes can pull in.
Committing Friday, by the way.
He's committing Friday. Wow, I see. I didn't even know that he was committing already on Friday. I know Nick Cole, who's another big guy in the secondary, has pushed back his commitment now. But now you got some other guys in the middle like Anthony Lucas and Daniel Lyons, and some more offers went out recently.
They had Miami O-line as one of the number 4 in the whole ACC.
In the ACC, which is huge. I mean, it's big, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, you're getting a lot of talk about Zion Nelson having first-round grades, but people forget that Corey Gaynor. I don't know if Corey Gaynor will be that guy that's going to be a first-round or a second-round pick, but he's been here for 4 years now. All right, he's a solid center. He's a guy that's going to contribute. That's not going to make a lot of boneheaded plays. He's the captain of that offensive line in the middle at center. You bring back Navon Donaldson, who's in the best shape of his life now, and you've got all the other guys around him, the Jalen Rivers and Jared Williams and Isaiah Walker, I think. Yeah, guys who can grow. Exactly. That's a perfect way to put it. But also guys that have been here for a little bit as well. So I love to see that they're in the top 5. It's been a long time since we see an offensive line from Miami be in the top 5 of anything positive.
And they're gonna need that in that first game of the year against Alabama. I think Alabama is gonna be very strong up front. So it'll be a great first test for Miami just to see where you at. And obviously this doesn't shape your season. And Miami lose that first game, it's whatever for them. We won't be upset about it because you have another 9 to 10 games ahead of you. Your main goal is to get into that ACC championship game, and then hopefully, if the college football playoffs expand, you in that expansion, or you make it back in the top 4 with a strong season, beating the Clemson in the ACC title game. So I think Miami's probably I would say Miami's the second best team in the conference. I have them over North Carolina. I know they're going to give North Carolina the edge because of Sam Howell, but you have to think about what he lost. The Damani Brown kid, Javonte Williams, Michael Carter. And you look at what Miami bring back. You bring back an experienced quarterback in De'Aaron King, Don Chaney. You bring back a good group of receivers. So you have to think about it like that. And Miami has a lot of returning starters who are at impact positions, and particularly the offensive line.
But I think then that brings up another great point. And Danny, I want you to kind of get in on this. Right now, what Miami needs to start doing is building depth. And with these type of recruiting classes, and if you can develop these kids, how important is that going to be?
It's going to be huge because once other recruits in future classes see that you have a track record of developing kids, then they'll want to go to Miami, and then they'll say, hey, you know what? Miami's a good offensive line school. Or if we develop wide receivers, hey, Miami has had a great track record of developing wide receivers recently. And, coaches can use that in their recruiting pitch as well. Hey, X went to the NFL, and that was only 2 years ago. Hey, player C, got drafted in the first round. So getting depth at these positions, getting big guys, getting tall guys, those are all things that are important to the success of a program. You talk about, watching the college football playoff, last year, Alabama, big and tall, Ohio State, big and tall, Clemson, big and tall.
Well, they always have good O lines and D lines at those schools.
They do.
Oh, yeah.
We need to be able to get those same guys to compete with those guys. I mean, look, Danny, you bring up another great point, man. Size is everything. And I think the misconception is that people think, like, for instance, the days of having, and I'm sure, Jock, you can speak on this, the days of having the 6'1", 250-pound linebacker.
Nope.
First of all, Miami's not
those
that
days.
school.
No.
Those days are gone, right?
Oh, yeah. I think
they're over.
The best linebacker in the league, NFL right now, Devin White, is 6 feet. He might be. He's a freak. He's about 230, but that's the like today's linebackers linebacker is more of a safety who a little bit bigger, like 230 in the box. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
yes, those big run stuffing like Ray Lewis 260. No, that's dead. I think Miami's going in the right direction with the O line and D line because that's the most important position on the field. If you have those two positions, you're gonna win.
But that's what I'm saying, right? Like size doesn't necessarily mean a linebacker that weighs 250. I think the misconception is that, right? Size can be length. Size could be, like you said, tall. Yeah, okay, you can beat like a Chase Smith. How long is Chase Smith? Chase Smith is probably going to be a linebacker here. He's not going to play striker for too long because maybe he can't cover like a nickel, a traditional nickel. That's what Miami's looking for, kind of like that traditional nickel with a little more size that can play the striker position. So you're going to see Chase Smith play at 230 pounds, 225 pounds as a badass linebacker here. That's how it's going to work.
You make a great point though. When you're recruiting corners, that's what you're looking for. A guy with nice size, great length, right? Because you have to be able to contest catches, right? You see a 6, so you want a guy with long arms so he can fight through the hand pockets or break up passes coming over the back. So that's what they're looking for, and I think they're doing a great job with it. Even though James Williams, I think he was the second question asked at ACC Media Day. I know a lot of people are excited to see him. I still think his future is at linebacker or striker, but, you never know.
Well, here's the thing. It's going to be exciting to see because now Manny Diaz did announce that camp starts August 6th, I believe it is. August 6th is 2 weeks away. So don't get it twisted, man. It's right around the corner. This is crazy, man. Here we go. College football's back, baby. And college game day is going to be, I wish it would have been in Atlanta, but it's going to be in Georgia, the Georgia Clemson game. Rightfully so. I get it.
Rightfully so.
Yeah. I get it. It makes sense. But it's coming right around the corner. Jock, I want to try to get Pop on if we can soon because we definitely want to talk some more high school football with him. And we'll bring on Larry as well, possibly next week. But we got some exciting stuff coming down the road. We'll have the Shamar Stewart stuff. Danny will probably do a really kick-ass write-up about that this week. And make sure that you guys, whoever's listening, make sure you guys start following us on social media, man. We're going to have some great content put up soon at Six Rings Canes on Instagram. Also, of course,
it's that time of the year.
It's that time, baby.
Time.
Here we go, baby. Here we go. Make sure you follow us at Six Rings Canes on Twitter, on Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, the 5 Reasons Sports YouTube. Make sure you like us, give us a thumbs up. We'll have a lot more content coming at you from everywhere now. And I'm sure you'll see myself, Jock, at the games, covering a lot of the games. You got someone creeping up on you back there, Jock.
That's my 91-year-old auntie, man.
There she is. That's awesome. So make sure you check us out. We'll definitely get some good information for you guys coming up. Want to thank 5 Reasons Sports.
Hey, Jazz, if we get media access, let's go to Atlanta, man.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, well, as soon as Ethan – we got to get on Ethan about that one. We'll be looking at Atlanta for sure.
We'll be right there at the game. That'll be a very
100%.
Fun game. But yes, I can't wait. Me and Jazz cover it. Me and Jazz are mostly out most of the game. I'm sure Paul will get in there this year.
Well, he lives in Oregon now, so I don't know how much he's gonna be in there.
Yeah, we're gonna have to fly him down. But...
You're gonna have to FaceTime him.
I know, right?
This will be a FaceTime.
Unbelievable.
So me and Jazz will be covering the games, man. We always have a good time. Me, Jazz, and Blue. And I love to see Jazz's reaction in the press box when Miami gets scores on. He's like, man, what is that?
I try to hold it back, but you know how I am, man. The fan in me gets wild, man. It is what it is. Thank you guys for joining us. We had a really nice show. Thank you for Darren Heitner. Oh, yeah.
And also, and Heitner, thank him for coming on. Also, guys, if you guys are interested in being sponsors of the 6 Ring King, please. 6 Ring Canes, I'm sorry. Please reach out to any one of us. We always love the support. And, maybe we can get us some NIL guys, too, from Miami. You know what I'm saying?
There you go. That would be nice. That would be nice. It'll help me pay the rent. Anyways, thank you guys for coming on. Danny, Jock, Jazz
Absolutely.
Santana, the Six Rings Canes. We'll be back at it next Wednesday. See you guys then. Go Canes.
Go Kings.
Okay.
And thank you to David.